Bitcoin has made another drop to 64,000 US dollars and the markets are looking very weak. And in this video, we're going to have a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and also Solana. So if you find that already interesting, please hit the like and subscribe button and let's go to the charts. And in this video, guys, I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna trade this price action with almost 8 years of trading experience. Let's start with Bitcoin, because if we look at the higher time frame, we saw another drop last night. And that drop brought us to the 64,000 US dollar. But what is very interesting right now? First, we have to zoom out and look at the higher time frame support and resistance areas. And if we look at the daily candles, we can see a very clear support area here around the 62,000 US dollars. And if Bitcoin is going to break that support area, the next big support is here around the 56,000 US dollars. And these areas are very interesting for long opportunities and also for spot buys for the long term, of course. So in these green areas, I'm going to look for a long opportunity. And this is how I'm going to do that. I want to wait for the price to reach this price point right here. And then I want to wait for a lower time frame rotation. And I'm going to show it to you on a lower time frame in a few minutes. But I want to see a trend rotation on the lower time frame in this green area. Then I'm going to start to look for a long opportunity. And I am not placing long orders already here because the risk is too high, because we are in a very big and clear downtrend. And of course, we saw a very strong bounce, but there was not a trend break. And if we look at the higher time frame, the next and the first big resistance area is here around the 76,000 US dollars. And this area is very important because this was also the starting point of the pulse what brought us to the all-time high. So that's a very interesting and important resistance area for Bitcoin. So let's go to the lower time frame. And if you look at the lower time frame, what can we see right now? Of course, we saw a drop under this support here. But right now there is an interesting resistance area here around the 68,000 US dollars. So what I'm going to do in the coming hours and days, I want to see how the price is going to react with this resistance area. We saw a low, another lower low, and here a high and a lower high, another lower high. So this area right here is very interesting to look for another lower high. So I'm going to look for a rotation and a structure break, a local structure break. Something like this, what we saw here. I also took this trade on this local structure break. When we saw this, that was my trigger for my trade. And literally the same thing I want to do with this red area here. And also the same I want to do with a long opportunity. I want to wait for the price to go lower. Then I'm going to look for a rotation. If you're going to see that rotation after this confirmation, then I'm going to look for the long opportunity right here. So that's how I'm going to trade Bitcoin. My main target is here around the 78,000 US dollar, and my main target for another crash is around the 56,000 US dollars. So guys, if you find this video already helpful, let me know in the comments. Is it good and understandable? I want to share with you my trading experience. So yeah, let me know. And if you have a look at Ethereum right now, it's also very interesting. It's a very dangerous chart if you look at it, because we found support here around the 1,800 US dollars. The next big support is here around the $1,600. And there's also an interesting support area here around the 1,300 US dollars. And if we look at Ethereum right now, we saw a strong bounce, but the problem is there was no trend break for Ethereum. So the most logical reaction for Ethereum is to see another crash to the downside. And right now we are currently holding above the 1,800 US dollars. So what do we need to see? We need to see in the coming hours a break back above this structure here. And if we are going to see that, then I'm going to look for another long opportunity. And if Ethereum is not able to do that, then we are going to see another crash to at least the $1,600 and maybe even lower to the $1,300. And it could be very nasty. And the problem is, guys, we have to wait for the strong confirmations because the markets are looking very weak. Also, if you have a look at Solana, yeah, this is not a good chart, guys, because if you look at the higher time frame, what you are seeing here is the last few years for Solana, and right now we are holding above this support area here around the $70. But the problem is here, also, we saw a strong bounce, but not a trend rotation. So right now, what's very important for Solana is that we are going to hold this support area here around the $80. I think it's also an interesting place to look for a long opportunity. But if Solana is going to lose this price level, then we are going to look for a breakout short. So what's very interesting, if we lose this support area here, we can look for another short opportunity, and we're going to see a crash to at least $70 and maybe even lower, guys, because there is no trend break for Solana. So it's very important that we are going to hold this area here, otherwise it could be very nasty. Yeah, and the same thing is it for XRP. If you look at this chart, guys, it's very important for XRP to make a strong impulse right now. Otherwise, guys, we are going to see a very nasty crash. We saw a very strong bounce from the $1.10 and a local uptrend. But the problem is, if we're gonna lose this support area here, the main trend is already down for XRP. So if we're gonna lose this support area right here, then I'm going to look for another short, and then we are going to test lower prices. I think at least the $1.10 for XRP. So that's the bearish scenario. What's also a possible scenario is if we can break this local high right here, then we are going to break this local downtrend, and then I'm going to look for a long opportunity right here. So if we get this confirmation, then I'm going to look for the long. If we get this confirmation, then I'm going to look for the short opportunity, and that's how I'm going to trade XRP. No predictions, purely price action. Hopefully you find this video helpful. Send it to someone who can use this video, and hopefully I see you in my next update. Ciao.